Hey guys, I'm Janet on occasion, and today we're playing another Total War Warhammer II Battle Replay. This one was sent in by Evan. Just Evan, you know, no fancy gamer tag, no, just Evan. But hey Evan. This was sent in by him, and, well, one thing, first off, I want to say is, it's great to see Avalon actually taking advantage of the sort of exclusive units, you know, the Dryads. Well, I guess not exclusive, because they're also Wood Elf units, but, you know, the unique hybrid faction unit, you know what I mean. So I love that. Dryads, I think, are really good. He's against the vampire counts, and Dryads with their magic damage, really good, you know, against any potential ethereal units that you might see, but also they're good damage dealers, 60 armor, and they've got the physical resist. It actually makes them very, very handy. So look at that, 32% physical resist. I mean, that's pretty great. That's pretty great. They're going to do very well in the front line against zombies, and even standard Graveguard, they can actually get some good work done too, especially with some support from spells. They're pretty damn good in this matchup. I really, really like them here. Also, there are some spearmen on either side, so it's good to have some extra spearmen there, just for the very high melee defense. Very good for pinning things in place for a long time. There are some dragon princes there and there. Alariel, of course, and Alariel, very, very handy to have here, because, of course, she does have the Tempest, and her only real threats are going to be in the air, right? She can join whatever engagement she wants to. She can't get shot at, but if there are flying lords, you want to be able to stop the flying lords, and so Tempest is really useful there. So she doesn't have the net of Amantok, but Tempest will do great here. So also, Arcane Conduit, Star of Avalon, Files Protection. Files Protection I think is superb here, especially when you're just getting bogged down by a million units. Just having that melee defense is super useful. Also, Earthblood to help heal things up. She also has a whole host of other stuff, which is nice. You know, that extra physical resist for people is great, and just very, very tough. Very, very tough to deal with, Alariel. Very nice indeed. Everqueen's Courtguard, that's going to give extra magic. If you have a look here, they have the Banner of Avalon, so improved power recharge rate. Very, very nice. So more magic at Alariel's disposal. And they're Sisters of Avalon, so they're going to do a ton of work. They have great armor piercing, magic and fire damage, so they can exploit basically every weakness. Same with these guys, just standard Sisters of Avalon. They're going to do great against vampire counts. Also here, Swordmasters of Hoeth. Very little can get in their way. They really need to get bogged down by a billion units of Graveguard of great weapons, or Blood Knights. Blood Knights will wreck these guys. Just, they aren't very good at getting charged by Cav, but there are Phoenix Guard as well. These guys will do great against any of the infantry just because they're so much more elite, but it's not going to be so cost effective if they're just fighting infantry all day. But it will be very nice to have these guys, especially with the threat of, you know, monsters and cavalry all over the place. But these Dragon Princes, they'll do really well against Blood Knights if they can get the charge off. And support from magic, they can do very well for themselves, but it can be tough. Blood Knights are a real threat in this matchup, especially when you're so small and elite. It's going to be very easy for them to peel off one engagement and charge straight into something expensive, because everything here is expensive, so it's tough. So, vampire counts, direwolves, Blood Knights. It's got the dire pack as well. That anti-large bonus certainly helps, especially with things like Illyrian Reavers, things like that. They're a bit lighter. The dire pack are great for dealing with that, but also against dragons. You'd be very surprised. Dragons don't have the lot of armor, really. So if a dragon's trying to get out of an engagement, just keep the dire pack on them and keep them pinned to the ground the whole time, and they'll take a huge amount of damage from that anti-large bonus. Very surprising how well they can do there. Anyway, Blood Knights. And more Blood Knights on this side. He has the Von Karstein Vampire Lord, which everyone agrees is just the best one, really. He's just the best one, which is sort of a shame, to be honest. But no, he's great. So he's got the Storm of the Night, which is basically Tempest, but evil. It's evil Tempest. He's also got Undeath Resurgence, Sword of Anti-Heroes, Charmed Shield, the Wind of Death. Wow, okay, that's pretty cool. Don't see that, unfortunately. Raise Dead, Invocation to Heck, Transformation of Codon, which summons a Vargulf in the case of this guy, which is pretty cool. So just a load of utility, and just really good combat stats. So very scary indeed. Doesn't have a huge amount of armor piercing, but when he's likely to fight Alariel, it doesn't really matter. She only has 40 armor. Anyway, Graveguard, great weapons, Graveguard with great weapons, Graveguard, Sternsman, and then a couple of zombies in the middle. And also some bats. So, speeding things up. So here, Sisters of Avalon really need to be taken off fire at will, I think. Here, it looks like a Tempest has been used on the bats. I think that's a bit expensive. but it's nice to get rid of the bats early. So, you know, one volley from these guys in the Tempest and they're crumbling. So, you can't really argue with the results. So, fair enough. It does get rid of something that's a bit of a nuisance, but if the bats are going to jump straight in, you can just charge them with Dragon Prince, they'll die in a couple of seconds anyway. This is a lot of ammo being used on something very cheap. These are 350, and these, what, 1100? I'd say they've almost used as much ammo to make those guys beneficial anyway, and that's the pity, you know. You need to make sure that you're not just thinking about casualties, but you're also thinking about your resources, things like magic and ammunition. They're very important to consider when you're taking something on. You want to make sure you kill cheap stuff without having to spend those resources that you can't get back. Here, though, zombies are about to be cast on top of these Sisters of Avalon, and the von Karstein Vampire Lord is taking a lot of damage from the Sisters of Avalon, but one of them is fairly shut down while the front line gets in. And frankly, all of these units here, all the Grave Guards, some with great weapons. You got the Sternsmen, just better combat stats and regeneration. They're gonna be able to cut through this stuff pretty damn well. This is definitely a more elite infantry corps, I'd say. Except, of course, the Swordmaster Hoeth that can chop through all of it. But the Swordmaster Hoeth can't be everywhere at once, and they're going to have a lot to protect. But the Spearmen and the Dryads will get finished off in here. But this is wise. Get the Dragon Princes to help deal with the zombies nice and early. The Swordmasters are going to help deal with that until they have something that they want to deal with. And a load of damage on the Sternsmen now. They do have silver shields, so it might have been worth going for the Grave Guard with great weapons first, because you can get more damage into them. Or to be shooting at these knights, because these Blood Knights can be a problem. Here, though, the Dragon Princes and the Phoenix Guard managed to get a good attack on these Blood Knights. These are being pulled forwards and taking a lot of shots into the side. So Sisters of Avalon getting a lot of value here. Unfortunately, these Sisters of Avalon are getting gobbled up by direwolves, which is not ideal. They need to be pathed towards the front line while that's still holding. Here, though, we've got double Tempest action. That's right. We've got the, whatever it's called, the thing of the night. What is it? What is it again? It's gone anyway. And a Tempest. Kind of crazy. Both taking a lot of damage. And here, now, Star of Avalon, just to be used on Alarielle when she's fighting something that she really should not be fighting. I think it's a bold move, but it's even more bold to then run off. Although it says she's still got the effects of it, which is unusual. Yeah, apparently she's still being healed by it. How is she? Alright, I don't know what to say about that, but alright, she's still got it apparently, which is unusual. They're getting it now. Fine, I guess. That seems strange. I don't know what happened there. Anyway, Vargulf has been summoned, attacking the Everqueen's Court Guard, but of course the Phoenix Guard can protect these guys easily. Easily. So now, Blood Knights, they've taken a lot of damage, but they're going to be coming back into the fray. So there's two units, both very injured, and these Dragon Princes are way healthier. All these Dragon Princes need to do is get this charge off. They just have to charge here. Come on, get the charge! And they've been charged themselves. They don't get that 80 charge bonus. They're against someone with anti-large and unbreakable. Another charge comes in, and the ones that do get the charge off, they're blocked by their own unit, so they're not even getting maximum value out of that. If they got a surround, maybe they could have tilted it in their favour. But right now, this is definitely in favour of the Blood Knights, unless one of these guys gets a spell one way or another. Just as it is, I think the Blood Knights have probably got this, which is not ideal. So anyway, now the front line is gone. It's gone. All of the cheaper units are gone. All the Dryads, all the Spearmen, they've all been dealt with. Because of course, it's all Graveguard and Sternsmen and Graveguard great weapons. It's tough. So here, once again, the Queen's Court Guard getting bogged down by zombies. Alarielle, she's taken a lot of damage. She's taken a huge amount. Earthblood, though, on all this lot. Great to keep these Phoenix Guard in action. And over here, 150 kills for the Swordmasters so far. They will need some healing themselves, though. You want to keep these guys healed up, because this front line is probably the biggest threat right now. If not for all the Blood Knights. Oh, Dragon Princes. Oh, if only they'd got the charge off, the Dragon Princes would have wiped out these two Blood Knights by now. But they just didn't get the charge. That is such a vital thing with Dragon Princes. You need to make sure that they get the jump on things, not the other way around. Even if the Blood Knights did get the charge off, as long as the Dragon Princes get their charge off too, they have a slightly better bonus. And at least you have that, right? You're evening the odds. You're not just letting them get caught off guard. So, yeah, Blood Knights have won this engagement. And the Dragon Princes are sort of damaged beyond repair at this point. They've lost their martial prowess. They're toast. So that is very, very sad. But here, Swordmaster Hoeth and the Phoenix Guard, they're in the thick of things. Sternsmen are taking a lot of damage. Graveguard are taking a lot of damage. Over on this side, though, things are looking a bit rough, and Alarielle is once again fighting the von Karstein Lord that she does not want to be fighting. He's just too good in combat. 70 melee attack is ludicrous. Over here, though, now this is very, very unfortunate. This Star of Avalon looks like it would be hitting both these units, but somehow it's not healing either of them. The Swordmasters, yep, they do get it eventually as they edge forward, but these Phoenix Guard aren't getting the healing, which is just such a shame. You'd think that would be hitting both, but it's not. I mean, pretty much every Phoenix Guard is stood in here, but they're not getting it. And that is a problem. And actually, the Swordmasters weren't getting it the whole time there either, so that is a pity, because that looked great. That looked great, but it just didn't. It just didn't work out. Sometimes you've got to be super careful. You know, you've got to make sure it's a guarantee. Although, I think I would have made the same mistake. That looked like it should have been getting both of those units. It just didn't. But anyway, Alariel did manage to chase off one of the Blood Knights to get them to crumble, and the other unit is also crumbling now, so the Blood Knights are nearly dealt with, which is actually looking very good for the High Elves. But Alariel is at a healing cap, and she can't really compete with the Von Karstein Lord. And the Everqueen's Courtguard, they need to get out and get every arrow into this Lord. That is the only thing that can hit him hard enough. Alariel, with the charge, can do some good work, but even if she gets one hit off, if she gets bogged down at all and takes one hit, that is too costly, you know, for what she'll do in return. She's got to get the Everqueen's Courtguards on him. Here, the other Sisters of Avalon, plenty of ammunition, but very few models left. You know, 14 shots in a volley isn't a lot. And here, another Storm of the Night. It's unrelenting. But you can get out of it if you attack things on the ground like this. So that was a beautiful move to hop out of this and help avoid the Von Karstein Lord. And as you can see, she managed to get out of there, which is beautiful. But the Phoenix Guard just surrounded, more zombies being placed on top of them just to cause even more issues. And the Phoenix Guard are really struggling to stay in this fight. Some Dryads have run in to try and help. Some shots being fired into the Von Karstein Lord now definitely helps. Definitely helps. Over here, I mean, yeah, there's Graveguard in here, aren't there? No, all zombies. But they're cheap, who cares? They're just summoned zombies, so they can keep these guys busy when they really need to be in this front line helping. Here, the Swordmasters are wavering. They need support right now. And you'll see they will get some in a second. They will get some. Here, though, Graveguard still chasing the Everqueen's Courtguard around. And here's that Earthblood, but it's too little too late. Swordmasters have already broken. And with those 2 units of elite infantry broken, there's not really anything that can compete toe-to-toe with all of these Graveguards. Sure, a lot of them are crumbling, but it's not going to be long before they stabilise or get healed up by an Invocation to Heck or anything else. Some more fantastic shots in the Von Karstein Lord, and Alariel is on the hunt for him now, which is definitely bold. I mean, at this point, it's either kill the Von Karstein Lord or you're dead, right? You've got to help. Just see if you can get lucky, pin him in place long enough for your archers to get some work done. And you can see, it's getting some work done. But this is not looking great for Alariel here. And unfortunately, the other Sisters of Avalon are shooting zombies. And that ammunition is so precious at this point. These guys are almost out of ammunition. And I just don't see how they're going to stop this Lord. I really don't. So Alariel's having to run away again. Phoenix Guard did come back, but they've shattered on the Sternsman. I mean, there are only, what, 6 of them left? Not great. Not great. Swordmasters are back, though. Swordmasters should be able to deal with the Graveguard. Probably not those, though. I mean, 76 models on that unit is still super healthy. Graveguard with great weapons just chasing the Everqueen's Courtguard about. And Alariel is trying her best to keep out of the way of the Von Karstein Lord. And she's doing alright. She's doing alright. But leadership is very bad because she is so injured. This is very desperate for the High Elves right now. And Dryads and Spearmen are returning. So that's something. That's something. Sisters of Avalon, they've run out of ammo, so they have no choice but to run in. But they do have pretty good combat stats. 37 and 39 isn't half bad, and that's without martial prowess. Over here, these Everqueen's Courtguard, they're actually turning about to try and deal with these Graveguard, and they're just going to sit and fight them. They do have great combat stats. 63 melee defense, just as standard, is ludicrous. I say as standards with martial prowess, but still. And they've just lost that, haven't they? Yep, 51. Never mind. So, more zombies being placed here. Lariel's still trying to do what she can, trying to help the Swordmasters, but with all the zombies on top of them, keeping them all busy, attacked in the rear by the zombies, all this stuff doing very well, and them being so injured. Up to 356 kills right now, but they break. They break. And right now, it's neck and neck, but I say neck and neck. Look, Von Karstein Lord still has a third of his health, and Alariel's probably one hit from routing, which is not good. Over here, though, these Graveguard are actually buckling, which is pretty great. You know, these Dryads and Spearmen coming to the defense as well, and it looks like they're going to go, but Alariel took that hit, and that's army losses. Oh, so hard fought. And I know exactly the moment that game was lost. It was the Dragon Princes getting caught out. It's that simple. If those Dragon Princes survived, they could have cycle charged the rest of that army to death. No problem. Graveguard do not hold up well against cav charges. Sure, zombies could have been placed behind them and things like that, but it would have meant that the Von Karstein Lord would have been busy trying to stop that happening. Archers would have been a problem again. He just couldn't have... There would be no way he could have kept on top of all of that. And so the Blood Knights winning that engagement, that was it, you know? Evan lost the tools he needed to keep the pressure on the vampire counts. It just meant the vampire counts with the overwhelming numbers in the front line. They could just keep sweeping through everything, just keep chasing whatever they wanted to chase. And it meant that Alarielle would have had no choice but to get into the thick of things if she wanted to win those engagements. And at that point, she's a sitting duck for the Von Karstein Lord, so she couldn't land, right? So it was all down to the Dragon Princes. If those Dragon Princes had remained, you know, that front line would have buckled. With the Blood Knights dead, they could have both just charged into that front line. They could have charged straight into the same engagement the Swordmaster and the Phoenix Guard were in, and that Heart of Avalon potentially could have healed all 4 units, and they could have taken out almost all of those Graveguard immediately. And that would have been amazing. And but it didn't happen, because they died. They couldn't get that charge off, and that is the one thing that tipped the battle in the favour of Obnoxious Potato here. Which, great name, by the way. That's pretty funny. So, yeah, that was it. That was it, guys. Do not let your cavalry get charged. That is the worst possible thing. I know it's easy to do, you know, I'm not judging, but it's the one thing you've got to watch out for. But that's the sad thing with this kind of army. If you're going very elite like this, sure, it's less stuff to micro, but any mistake you make is so much more detrimental than if you had a very wide line. You know, if you went with a very wide army and you'd had, you know, a ton of spearmen and a ton of just standard archers, sure, one might get caught out and get wiped out almost immediately, but it almost doesn't matter as much because you've lost less value there. Whereas Sisters of Avalon get charged or pinned down, or even if they're just being chased so they can't fire, you're losing way more value than the price of 1 unit of standard archers. So it's very tough. So less to micro, but it's more costly if something does get caught out, which I think makes it very interesting indeed. So guys, if you enjoyed this, please do comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good day, guys.